Are you tired of the same old pro wrestling? Then check out the amazing action on Powerslam.tv, the biggest indie pro wrestling channel in the world. Get over 4,000 hours of the best pro wrestling events from over 110 of the biggest names in the industry from over 15 countries around the globe. Get your free trial today at Powerslam.tv.
What's up, y'all? It's Jeff Cobb, and you're listening to Ricky and Clive Wrestling Show on Social Suplex Podcast Network.
You're listening to the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Show. Listener discretion is advised at all times.
Hello and welcome to, that's not what I say, is it? Hello and thank you once again for downloading and listening to another episode of the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Show, part of the Social Suplex Podcast Network. It is the end of Ramadan, however Ricky is still not with us. He is celebrating Eid by stuffing his face full of some quality and quantitative food. He's probably got a food full of samosas right now, so fair play to him. And happy Eid to Ricky and his family. I am, however, joined by a guest tonight, a special guest who is making his name well known through the podcasting world at the moment. He is one half of Brainbuster Radio Collective's Badlands. He is the host of the Why We Watch pod on Visionaries Wrestling Network. He is the light, the shining bright light of the darkness that is wrestling Twitter. He is the best thing to come out of the north of England since Sean Bean. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, marks of all ages, I introduce to you, returning to the show, Mr. Darren Kirkby. Hello, Darren.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Why We Watch. The Ricky and Clive Show. Thank you for having me on. It's an absolute honour. I absolutely love when I get to talk to guys like yourself, and yeah, for some reason I'm the flavour of the month. I don't know why. I do think it's because they just want like an idiot on the show to laugh at. So yeah, thanks for having me on. Can't wait to get into this NXT review.
I wouldn't put yourself down too much. There are already a couple of idiots on this show normally, so don't worry. Sorry, Ricky, if you're listening. So this week we are going to discuss what was a milestone in the WWE quote-unquote developmental era, and that was the NXT 25, which happened in Bridgeport, Connecticut at the weekend there. But before we do that, there is some pressing issues, the more sort of serious things that we have to discuss. As of June the 5th, today, there have been 9 24/7 title reigns between 5 wrestlers. Now, this is important information. Now, the inaugural champion, as you know, was Titus O'Neil. R-Truth has the most reigns at 4, and his first reign is the longest reign at 8 days. He's the only champion to hold the title for longer than a day. Jinder Mahal has the shortest reign at 11 seconds. As after winning the title, he immediately lost it back to R-Truth in a fairway hazard if there ever was one. Truth is also the oldest champion, winning the title at 47 years old, while Elias is the youngest. Elias is only 31 years old.
Wow. Makes me look young.
It doesn't look a day over 32. So, I know people like to think of this as a joke, but this is serious business. This is going to be a regular feature of the show, Darren.
I'll try not to laugh.
Well, you did well with the mute button there, I have to say. So, right. NXT 25. Overall a good show? You enjoyed it then?
I absolutely loved it. I felt that the build-up was quite weird. It didn't feel the same as a normal NXT takeover build-up. And I couldn't really put my finger on why it felt like that. And the only thing I can think of is that it wasn't attached to another WWE pay-per-view, which has made it a little bit weird. But coming off the back of Double or Nothing, they had a lot to live up to, and I think they knocked it clean out of the park. It was such a good show.
Yeah, it was. They did well to knock it out of the park, as you say. And you're right with regards to the build. Sometimes recently I think the builds to the NXT takeovers have been not lacking, just maybe in comparison to older NXTs. It's almost as if it's rushed. And I don't feel like that's the case from days gone by. I think as well they brought it forward a week. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, I think so.
So maybe that sort of rushed their taping schedules or something, but needless to say, once the night was over, people were calling match of the year, best match ever, top notch all up and down the card. So if you want, we'll just go from the opening, Matt Riddle and Roderick Strong.
Let's go for it.
For me, this was maybe a recency bias, but this was as ferocious an opener to a takeover that I may have ever seen. They came out the gate with it was like a bee sting right on the arse, basically. It was 1,000 miles an hour, but they were still able to tell the story with Matt Riddle's back being the focal point of attention. Roderick Strong, the messiah of the backbreakers. These guys, they just wanted to kill each other after weeks of altercation. Riddle's offence was, as I say, that was hampered. Strong seemed to me as if he was sending a message to someone. I don't know if it was Adam Cole, Triple H, Regal, Vince, Cody and the Young Bucks and all those guys, but at the end of the day I think he made that mission, he gave that statement across. My favourite part was the bit with when Riddle was trapped in the ropes and Roderick was just running the ropes and smashing them with the elbows. Frighteningly good match at a really fast pace, and I want to give a shout out to our friend Rob Ropey. He had been singing Matt Riddle's praises for some time, and I just couldn't get into him, but very slowly and surely I'm on his side, and after that performance on Saturday night I am well and truly won over.
Yeah, I think for me it was the perfect way to open that takeover. Any other match in that place would not have worked as well as that. They were just balls to the wall, like you said. They wanted to absolutely murder each other. The spot you were on about where Riddle was trapped in the ropes and Roderick would just pounding him, and then the spot going up to the end where it was as smooth as butter with all the transitions from move to move. Mm-hmm. They are two amazing wrestlers. I don't think Roddy gets the praise that he should, because that guy can put on a performance, and I think Matt Riddle is probably primed to be WWE's next big star.
See, I do get that. I mean, with Roderick Strong, yes, he is a very, very competent wrestler, and he's fanboy strong and all that stuff. I could watch him wrestle. I think because he was under the guise of a tag team, his singles qualities didn't shine through as much. Mm-hmm. With Riddle, do you think the gimmick that he has would allow him to be the top guy?
I think if he ever went to the main roster, it would get calmed down a little bit. Obviously, we've seen guys and girls go up from NXT and their names are changed, or the gimmicks changed, or they just end up sat in catering, twiddling their thumbs. But I think because of Matt Riddle's crossover appeal, obviously he's got this legitimacy of a real MMA star. I think Vince is going to have wet dreams over him. So I think he's definitely going to be, when Brock finally does decide to pack it in, I think he's going to be the person who fits into that legitimate fighter role. Probably,
because as relaxed as he is, see, when it comes down to it, you saw that with the aggression that he had in the Velveteen Dream match. Mm-hmm. He can go when he wants to, and I don't want to touch on, it was one of those ones that wasn't like a perfect professional wrestling match. It was just balls to the wall, all out assault upon each other. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if there was much selling more than just adrenaline between the two. But I want to talk about selling later on. I wonder if you know what match I'm referring to. What do you think's next for Matt Riddle in the NXT world?
Now, I was hoping that when he put out his tweets about going to main roster, that was going to be what happened. He'd come up to main roster. I don't know, because he's lost to the North American champion. He's not. The only thing I can see is if he goes through Undisputed Era one by one to go against Adam Cole. That'd be a pretty decent storyline.
Leading up to SummerSlam weekend.
Yeah.
I could be all for that, actually. They've not had... If they had a singles match on TV, they haven't they? But it was... Am I talking rubbish?
I think Cole and Riddle have had a match, but did it end in like disqualification?
Probably.
When the lads jumped in.
As I say, I am a firm supporter of him now. Just his wrestling style, it is what I like. Not so much the MMA, but just that amateur wrestling.
Yeah.
See the Three Amigo gutbuster suplexes that he does.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I eat that up every single time. It's a delight to see. And he does have some sensibilities with like the pro wrestling world. I do see them now. Once I look past the flip flops and the bros and stuff like that, it does kind of leave that to the side when it comes to the matches, because a random comparison, Shinsuke Nakamura, since basically the first match with Sami Zayn, he's very relaxed during a match, and if we're keeping it kayfabe, that's not exactly worked in his favour over the last few years, whereas Riddle's relaxed outside the ring, but when it comes to it, he's ready to throw some palm strikes and brutal kicks to the chest and all that stuff. I think there's a difference there, and I think it could work in his favour.
Yeah, I agree with all your points, but I look at it from the MMA side. I was a big fan of Matt Riddle's when he was in the UFC, and when he got cut was absolutely unreal, because if I remember rightly, it was like a 4-fight win streak that he were on, and he got cut for obviously because he likes to partake with the wacky tobacco. So how that'll transition in WWE, there's rumours obviously that he's got a clause in his contract where he doesn't get fined for being high. So I love the he brings to NXT what Brock should have brought to WWE with the strong hitting MMA style. I know Brock went from WWE to MMA and then come back, but I think Matt Riddle does all the things that Brock should have done when he came back to the WWE, instead of just being a suplex everyone 50 times and then F5 and 5 times and the match is over. Matt Riddle's got a skills that Brock should have brought, and I think once Brock does pack it in, Matt Riddle comes up, I think he's definitely going to be the big star in WWE.
Where he will just be called Matt, probably, as well.
Yeah, or Riddle, just Riddle.
The Riddler. It'll be bro? Question mark?
With a big bro with a question mark.
Oh my god.
Like a question.
He'll dye his hair green.
I will start watching WWE if shit like that happens.
Don't be surprised, just bear it in mind.
Riddle me this, riddle me that.
You'd said it was a good option for the curtain jerker, and I do agree, but I just thought that it would have been the ladder match that followed. Our friend Rance Morris, aka Ray Cash, said this is maybe the best ladder match he's ever seen.
I fully agree with him. Maybe not fully, actually, that's a bit strong, but it's definitely on par with the likes of the TLC matches for me.
Really?
Absolutely, yeah. I thought it was a stunning match. I don't think one person in this match come out looking weak. Obviously, a ladder match is hard to predict the spots, but wow, them lads absolutely blew me away. Absolutely blew me away. Yeah. Such a good ladder match. I really, really enjoyed it. I mean, you had injuries to Kyle O'Reilly. Looks like he's got a kidney ripped out of his back. The spot where was it Montez Ford jumped over off the post onto the ladder. The ladder didn't even wobble when he did it. Even the introduction of is it Gunner, the big guy from Forgotten Sons? They even made him look strong. Is it Gunner?
Yeah, Jackson Riker.
That's him. Gunner in TNA, weren't he? I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even he looked strong. I mean, he weren't even meant to be in the match, but he come out and all of them having to dogpile him to get him out of the ring, made him look strong. So that match was an absolute belter for me. Yeah,
touching on Riker for a second, he has been quietly presented as something of a bit of a monster on TV for some time now. A few weeks ago, maybe a couple of months ago, he was supposed to have a match with Humberto Carrillo, but he destroyed him. And it required 1 and 2 themselves, what are their names, Lorcan and Birch, to come and help. And he has been booked quite strongly. It's just this whole Forgotten Sons thing. It's an unfortunate name, really, because you do kind of forget about them all the time.
Well, the fans certainly did with that chant when they were fighting, chanting, "We forgot you, we forgot you."
See, however, Wesley Blake, that man was wrestling with 5 or 6 years worth of frustration, because he suicide dove basically a ladder, not the people holding the ladder. I thought he'd crushed his head in.
Yeah.
He was a man possessed, and he was another one who had a statement to make. I was floored by how important Wesley Blake was to the quality of the match. See, you're talking about Montez Ford's leap onto the ladder. See the bit right before it where Angelo Dawkins speared someone underneath the ladder?
Yeah.
This is a random point, but see, for aesthetics alone, I really like his spear.
I agree with you. I think a lot of that puzzle pieces fell into place with that match. There was stuff that could have gone wrong and almost did go wrong, but just about pulled off to make them. I mean, a ladder match is hard to predict. The ladder can fall in the wrong place. But yeah, they just did so well. I mean, there were a few times where you could telegraph what they were doing, where they'd put a ladder just to the side of where the title belt were, so you knew a big spot was coming up. But it's things like that you have to prepare for, because you know if they're going to pull off these big spots, they need to be ladders need to be in the right place. But all in all, I absolutely loved that match, and I thought it was a great follow up to the opening. Kept the crowd absolutely hot. Yeah, I loved it, and the right people won, because the Street Profits have done their time. They've got the crowd on their side. I mean, they had a little red cup section going. Yeah, I loved it. Loved it.
What I liked about the match was that there were basically 3 teams out with Undisputed Era who were there to, I'm going to say this a lot tonight, make a statement. All these teams for the first time were able to incorporate that added wrinkle of ladders into their everyday offence. There was Undisputed Era did a sort of draping DDT tandem wheelbarrow German suplex onto a ladder, if that makes sense. Flapjacks, suicide dives, there were leg locks drooping from the ladder as well. I thought that although Undisputed Era were the anchors, they by no means carried the match.
No.
The other 6/7 guys more than made it their own as well. So just top notch, excellent. There was a bit where the ladder went flying and Kyle O'Reilly nearly was decapitated. And I think that got a shocked gasp from the crowd. I thought, oh shit, here we go.
Yeah, and that's it. That's how quickly a ladder match can go wrong. But for the grace of God, it didn't, and we ended up with one of the better ladder matches that I've ever seen.
It's hard to. I'm not sure if I would go so far as to say it was the best ladder match I've seen. Top 10, yes. I'm not sure about top 5. I mean, I would maybe split singles with multi-man or even tag team ones, because they're just completely different atmospheres for each one. If you've got a singles match, it's more cerebral, it's more tactically aware, whereas the multi-man ones are, as Ricky and I like to call them, organised chaos. This was disorganised chaos. It was that good. If that, it was so chaotic, it didn't look organised, and that's where you know you've got a really good multi-man match. So
yep, totally agree.
I'll remember it for a long time, but I have a prediction for what will happen with the Street Profits. With it's obviously, we'll talk about the main event later, but Adam Cole, baby, is the new NXT champion. I can see now. Remember, Adam Cole said at the start of the year, Undisputed Era will be draped in gold.
Mm-hmm.
The Undisputed Era, Riley and Fish, will beat Street Profits before Brooklyn's, not Brooklyn, I'm so used to saying Brooklyn for the SummerSlam one. The SummerSlam weekend, it will be on a TV tapings, and the Street Profits will be buried, for want of a better term.
I keep thinking that they'll get called up because Vince will want some new hot team, and they'll end up being Crime Time 2.0.
Oh. I'm laughing, but you're right.
How bad would that be, though?
I know. They would probably bring in, what's the guy's name?
Is it Shad? Shad and JTG.
They'll bring in Shad as the manager.
Yeah. Well, them two are back together now on the Indies as Crime Time, so...
Nice one. I quite like them, actually, I have to say. But, yeah, it's one of those gimmicks. It's, I don't know if it's on the nose, but if it was on the main roster, Vince might make it on the nose.
Yeah.
Especially with his recent track record of stereotyping people.
And also with the stuff that's come out with the Moxley interviews, he's been pretty close to getting Dean to say some brutal things, so it would not surprise me if he'd come out and said, yep, you're going to be Crime Time too.
Oh, jeez, well, best of luck. So, moving on to the North American title, I'm going to predict in the future that missing piece of the puzzle, Roderick Strong, might involve himself in this at some point in the future. But North American title match, Velveteen Dream, Tyler Breeze. What were your overall thoughts on this one?
I was a little bit sceptical about Tyler Breeze then coming back down. I felt that it was almost like a demotion, but he carried it well. It was a very, very good match. I wouldn't say it was like the best match on the card by a long stretch, but we know Tyler Breeze can go, and I think the build-up made this a better match than it should have been with the all NXT has upgraded their cellular plan.
Yes.
Dream could sell me a fart between absolutely anyone. I was like you were with Matt Riddle. At first, I didn't really get the Dream. I didn't really get with his character, but then obviously we had the Say My Name promo. And then the stuff with Ricochet, and I'm 100% in Dream's corner. I think Tyler Breeze did absolutely well. I love the bits with the selfies. I know he's got a lot of stick on Twitter about that, saying, if you've been beat, why would you want a selfie, stuff like that. I thought it was an absolutely great match. Both guys look quality. I don't think there's that much more to say. It was a really, really good match.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was quite iffy about Breeze coming back as well. Not so much that it was a demotion, because if he's back there full time, he'll be wrestling more. He's getting more exposure. Well, for the internet circle with the NXT following. But it wasn't Tyler Breeze turned up to 11, and he was that when he left. I actually missed the feathered selfie stick.
Yeah,
that was Tyler Breeze, and the attitude that he had with not wanting the refs to touch him. It just felt as if he wasn't fully invested in it. Did you get that at all from him?
I understand what you mean. Maybe it's because it's his first match back. He just wants to get his feet wet almost before getting himself fully involved in the character. Maybe he was just told that it was a one shot, but then looked to stay in them. I don't know, but I understand what you mean. But if you think he hasn't wrestled really for a long, long while, especially in front of a TV camera, so maybe it was a little bit of ring rust. Maybe he's got to get back into the mindset of being Prince Pretty again.
That's the thing. I thought his wrestling was fantastic. It was just the character side of things. It seemed as if he was more interested in reminding people that he could wrestle over and above being the sort of flashy gimmick guy. But the actual match itself, there was a violence to it that I did not expect at all. It got aggressive really quickly out beside the commentary table, and it was as if this was one of those instances where the hype video was really good. It was all you needed to know for the match going into it. As you say, they've updated their cellular plan. It's so true though.
Yeah.
And I think that might be part of why I'm a wee bit unsure if Prince Pretty going back to NXT is going to work, because it has evolved exponentially since he's been away. And is he going to be lost in the shuffle?
Well, this is it. I mean, he is essentially playing a very similar character to Dream, so maybe it's a case of he's having to adapt his character so it differentiates himself from the Dream, and maybe he's just not found that groove yet. Maybe
there'll be a tag team that Vince got.
Fashion Police 2.0.
Yep. I just think that specific role, the Goldust role of today, Velveteen Dream does it better than Tyler Breeze, and I'm just a wee bit concerned that he'll fall by the wayside, because I know he wasn't being used in the main roster. He himself has come out on Twitter recently saying, listen, if I wasn't happy being here, I wouldn't have signed that contract, which I believe a lot of people should take heed of what he's saying, and all the rumours going about wrestlers not happy with their current circumstances. But with Dream, I just think he's had a fascinating journey since the Say My Name stuff with Aleister Black. He was, with regards to his character and storyline, he came across as insecure in himself at the early stages. Although he was all bravado, he wanted people to recognise who he was, and he had to go through all these indie darlings. He wanted to try and match Ricochet in a wrestling match, and it only came to fruition towards the end when he finally got the really good couple of nights at Worlds Collide. What was that thing called? Halftime Heat.
Yeah.
And then the North American title, and since then he's secure in himself, he's confident, he's willing to take on anyone. I don't think I've seen him look intimidated by anyone, even Matt Riddle. So beforehand he seemed intimidated, but not anymore. So from a strictly kayfabe point of view, Dream's been quite a maturing character, which I've really enjoyed.
Yeah, I think something has definitely lit a fire under his arse, and he reminds me of the old wrestling scene we used to get from the likes of Bruce Pritchard. The best characters are usually the people who are just themselves but turn the volume way up, and that's what it seems like the Dream is doing. He's living this character, and he's so good at it. I mean, he went straight onto Twitter after the match and was like, follow that AEW. So. Yeah, I love him, and I think he's another one who is going to be a face of WWE for a long, long time.
I really hope so. I don't want to say he's got to be, he better be, but I really do hope so. I think there's a lot of potential with him.
Yeah. I mean, my only worry, and it still is a worry, is the sexually ambiguous side of his character. I don't know how that's going to play in a PG-centred main roster.
I know.
Maybe that he would be a character that probably would need some tweaking, because he never comes out and says it's sexual, but it's got that sexual air about it, and I just can't see this with the sponsors that WWE have that'll go down well.
See, it's even down to his posture, because when he was Patrick Clark wearing the red, white and blue pants and stuff on a couple of TV appearances, it's as if, I don't know if he's had a back injury or just the way he is, but he puffs out his chest. And
he peacocks. I think he peacocks. Like he'll walk and his back's arched and his arse is out and his chest is out. Yeah, he very peacocks when he walks.
And I think it's quite sexually provocative. Just the way he holds himself. The way he holds himself. Did you like that one? That's definitely. I know. But So there is a fine line there. If they tone down his double entendres, and if he's not sort of licking his fingers as he's writhing about the ring, then it could work.
Mm-hmm.
So good. I'm really happy for Dream. He's had an excellent year so far, 2019.
Yeah, I think sometime this year he's got that NXT title in the bag.
Oh, that would be a moment. That would be quite the moment, actually.
Man, how long have we got? How many more takeovers this year? What's it going to be like? Maybe 2 or 3. It might go into next year though. It might go into like WrestleMania time next year, but he'll be very soon a NXT champion.
Yeah, and he's one of those wrestlers who, if he got the "you deserve it" chance, it would be warranted, in my opinion.
And he's still so young. What is he, like 23? He's got the absolute wrestling world at his feet, and he could probably still go for another 20 years. So I would not be bothered at all if WWE really, really took the time with him and let him really breathe as a character. And before calling him up, I hope he gets that chance to breathe before he gets called up and then ends up being lost in the shuffle, which looks like that might be the case for Ricochet and Aleister Black. I think Dream is a much more character-based wrestler than both of them, so he's got the potential to be the face of the WWE. And I think if they just give him the time to make sure he's 100% knows his own character, then they've got absolute money in that kid.
Yep. If he wants, I think he's got a job for life with WWE. Definitely. Even if it's later on down the line where he's injured or just ready to give it up, he could work in whatever the performance centre's going to be like in 15 years or so. He could really work with youngsters with their character, with their promos and stuff like that. Just general the pomposity of the wrestling world.
Yeah, absolutely, totally agree. I mean, to be so young and to get your character as well as he does, he's an absolute asset to WWE.
I could talk about Dream for a long time, you know that. So the next match on the card was, again, sadly for me, the not the best of the night. What were your thoughts on Shayna Baszler's successful defence against Io Shirai?
Now, taking it as the match itself, I thought the match was a good quality match. It was really good action. But for me, the Shayna Baszler matches have become so formulaic that it's hard to see where she loses. And when you go up against people like Shirai should have won that match. I felt. I don't think another notch on Shayna's defence list really adds anything to her. And again, I think for me, she's been kept down to almost keep the 4 horsewomen story thing alive. I mean, I know Ronda's gone, but she's still got Shafia and Duke as a backup, and they are definitely not ready to come up to main. I think without her, they would probably get cut because they are so green, it's unreal. So I think that's why she's been kept down in NXT. But I just don't know. I like Shayna. I think she's an amazing wrestler, but there needs to be some sort of different formula to her matches, because it was the same thing again. She locked in the Karafuda clutch, and we had to wait 10-15 minutes. I mean, that was on too long. I don't know. It was a good match. If I were to judge it as a match, I enjoyed the match, but if I were to judge it as Shayna's story in NXT, it's getting boring for me. Okay. I mean, if you look at the rest of the women's roster, she's literally beat everybody bar Candice LeRae. There's only Candice LeRae who I can see maybe challenging.
Yep.
The good thing that they did was they added the little bit of at the end where Shirai went absolutely nuts, so maybe we get a rematch and Shirai just absolutely kicks the shit out of her, but I don't know. I just, that was the piss break match for me.
Yeah, and it's a shame to say that, but I totally agree. with Baszler being in NXT for so long, I think she's filling that role that Bayley had and that Asuka had, where the women's roster of NXT has been raided and gutted, and they've not got much left. They're not ready. I don't know, some of them might be ready, but maybe that's why she's been kept down. With regards to her matches, that match on its own was fine, but I've not enjoyed her matches as much as I used to, and that's not because Shayna keeps winning. I don't mind her winning. I think she is honestly head and shoulders, see, for the WWE pro wrestling style, sports entertainment style, I think she's head and shoulders above everyone in that division.
Yeah.
I think the two goons are devaluing her quite significantly. They just remain so unconvincing that it's hard to believe they actually make a difference, that they're actually a factor in Shayna's faction or stable. And if there's anything to be said that is detrimental to Shayna, maybe she's not being able to carry. I think she can be a leader, but I don't think she's able to carry people who just have not got any potential. I don't see. That's been quite a while they've been there now, and they've not improved. I saw someone on Twitter who saw them at a house show, and they're still not good, which is worrying. I think as well the order or the hierarchy of challengers has been a bit off. I've seen Bianca Belair put in a hell of a shift a couple of times. I've seen Mia Yim put on a fantastic performance on TV. One of my TV matches of the year, actually, with Shayna. I still don't know what's going on with Candice LeRae. Why have they not pulled the trigger on her? I'll not understand that. And through all this, they seem to have a hard-on for these Sky Pirates. And personally, from what I've seen, I quite enjoyed Kairi Sane at the start, but I think they pale in comparison to the likes of Ember Moon, Asuka, Ruby Riott. I just don't think, see, when it comes to those women that are already up in the main roster, they're not as good as Asuka and Ember. I don't see what the big fuss about them is and why they've been, it seems like they're at the front of the babyface challenger queue.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen some of Io Shirai's work from Stardom, and the Io Shirai that you see in NXT is it's like a whole different person. She's not the same kind of wrestler at all. Whether she's struggling to come and get a hold of like WWE style, I don't know. But yeah, I agree with you. I don't think she should have been the challenger. I think, and like I said, I think they should have pulled the trigger on Candice LeRae way before now. She's another one. The stuff that she did on the Indies is absolutely. She was a brutal fighter, absolutely brutal. and now she's literally just Mrs. Johnny Wrestling, and it's a shame because you see these characters and you know what they can do, and she's essentially a valet or essentially the backup to Io Shirai, which is an absolute waste. Hopefully they'll pull the trigger and we'll see a great match in Shayna versus Candice. But yeah, something needs to change. I mean, going back to the goons that she had, when Candice come down with the kendo stick, you could see Jessamine, I think that's the blonde one. You could see her like putting her arms up way before she was going to get hit with the kendo stick, and it's like, come on, it's basic 101. You're telegraphing what's going to happen. You clearly you're still so green, and it's a shame that if it is the reason why Shayna is being kept down in NXT, because she could have took the place that Lacey Evans took on Raw as the big bad heel, but it's just it's hard to watch sometimes because you know that Shayna's head and shoulders above everyone, and it shows in the roster, and the rest of the roster is being kept down because of it.
And it's not. I don't think it's Shayna's fault. It's just it's
absolutely not.
I wonder if she personally feels hampered by her friends.
Well, she must have played a part in getting them involved because they were all a part of the UFC world. maybe she does think, shit, I shouldn't have done this. It's like when you get a new job and you get your mates on and they end up being knobheads, and you think,
yes,
I wish I didn't get Steve and John a job because it looks bad on me.
I've done that a couple of times, and I've also been taken on by friends and it's not worked out, so it's a shame. It's a shame because one of the excellent things about NXT over the years has been the women's division, and its many different stages of evolution, so hopefully it picks up soon.
Yeah, it's weird to see because we had Asuka, who was absolutely dominant, but her dominance compared to Shayna's dominance is like comparing apples and oranges. When Asuka had these matches, you at least felt that the opponents were being like elevated, where you just don't get that with Shayna matches. You just see opponents being absolutely just decimated.
I know. Speaking of opponents being decimated, right, Johnny Gargano versus Adam Cole for the NXT title. But I like this. I liked the match. I thought it was more palatable than the Mania weekend match. I thought they took some breathers. They worked body parts, but it's as if they thought, I'll work the body part now, but then I won't, and then I will, and then I won't, and it got quite bad. See, if I don't see another super kick again, I would be a happy man.
Well, the double super kick spot on the outside looked pretty good, but yeah, I understand what you mean. It was very, very super kick heavy. I felt this match was weird before it even started, because I've always felt that you go from a singles match to a gimmick match, but they've like done that in the reverse order. They've gone from like the 2 out of 3 falls gimmick match to go to a straight single match. It's very weird booking. I think this were a better match than the 2 out of 3 falls, but yeah, I know what you mean about the super kicks and the focusing on body parts. But how good is Johnny Gargano? That guy could literally wrestle a broom to a 5-star match.
He could, and they're so good. And I'll say this till I'm blue in the face. Adam Cole is a common denominator in a lot of NXT's greatest matches over the last couple of years. He's not flashy, but he's that broomstick, basically. Yeah. The proverbial broomstick. And Johnny Gargano, see, if selling wasn't an issue, it would be... He's up there, top 3 in terms of pure wrestling ability, for sure. My problem with this match, and this is what I was talking about with the Matt Riddle, Roderick Strong one, there wasn't much selling in the first match, but that seemed to be based off adrenaline, just surging them on, and a backbreaker would hurt them for a couple of seconds, and then they'd say, no, I'm coming back. With this, they would take massive super kicks, brainbusters. What's the brainbuster onto the knee called?
Oh, Uranage.
Yushiroshi or something like that.
It's something like that, yeah. I know what you mean.
It's as if they're playing possum instead. And it's as if it's not adrenaline that comes across as, oh, you just hit me with a Panama Sunrise. But I'm okay. Here's a super kick for your troubles. And I don't want to be a wrestling purist. I don't, because, I mean, I'm waxing lyrical about the 24/7 title. Just sometimes it's not that believable. I mean, Adam Cole, Panama Sunrised, what's his face, Johnny Gargano, onto the floor, and then threw him into the ring and he kicked out. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I know. I understand what you mean. I think it was just more to sell the point that they can't keep him down, and then all of a sudden it's that last move that does it. It's a trope, unfortunately, of Johnny Gargano matches. He's got to be this person who defies all the odds, and it takes everything you've got and then some to put the guy down. Plus, they're also going to try and beat the star rating, I suppose, so you've got to keep Dave Meltzer sweet. But I felt that this match was a really, really good match, more because of how emotionally invested I ended up becoming in it.
Yes.
I was up and down, jumping about that. Oh my God, he's got him! Oh no, he's not. And yeah, and when they started doing like each other's like finishing moves or that kind of stuff, I eat that up all day long.
Yes.
And it's actually really interesting how we talk about Shayna Baszler being like this dominant champion and nobody can beat her, but then how many times have they hot-shotted this NXT World Championship? It seems that no one can get a string of defences going.
Obviously, with Ciampa going out, we don't really know what would have happened. We can guess that Gargano was going to win.
Mm-hmm.
But plans were up in the air.
Yeah.
And I wonder if this was a plan all along. And this whole Undisputed Era having infights with each other for the time being. I was convinced that Roderick Strong or someone was going to come down and cost Adam Cole the match. 100%
Yeah,
convinced.
I 100% agree with you. And I was thinking that from before the matches even started. I thought he's going to come out and screw Adam Cole. But they didn't even, any of them didn't come out. That was quite weird.
I know. I liked the bit where Adam Cole was making out as if they were going to come out.
Yeah, but that didn't really even lead to anything, though. I mean, Johnny clocked on and then got back in the ring. I mean, they could have made more of that, I felt. Yeah,
was that not the bit where Cole did that weird no-armed pile driver or something like that? Mm-hmm. So I can understand, there was some good storytelling elements, but for me, I think this was a chat between the boys saying, right, Double or Nothing just happened. We had the Young Bucks versus Pentagon and Phoenix, and they were kicking out of Canadian destroyers or Mexican destroyers onto the apron. Let's just up the ante. I think that's what it was. It was a let's beat Double or Nothing. Or if not as cynical, let's beat the first match that we had. And they might well do. I don't know was it 5.5 stars it got last time?
Yeah.
So we'll find out what happens with that. I can't wait to find out what the ratings are tomorrow.
Yeah, there's been some brilliant wrestling over the last month a bit. I don't know if Dave's got enough stars to dish out.
I know his well will be running dry, surely.
He's going to get to a 10-star match soon, surely to God.
Yep, and that will be when Mustafa Ali takes on Buddy Murphy in a stairs match at WrestleMania.
That's a stretch. That is a stretch. He won't give it to WWE. You'll be lucky if that's a 3-star.
Aye, probably. What was I going to say? What's next for Gargano? Do you think this is going to be a best out of 3 or?
I don't know, because like you mentioned, there was the whole Roddy infighting, but that seems like it's gone by the wayside, and like you said, we may get the Dream versus Roddy. Who else is there, really? Matt Riddle or Johnny Gargano again? Maybe Johnny comes up to main roster, because that was obviously teased before Ciampa got injured, so maybe that comes back. But yeah, it can't be left at that, surely. Not one apiece. It's got to be a rubber match.
Either that or a triple threat with Matt Riddle.
Oh, that sounds delicious.
Yes, they're not known for their triple threats.
No.
But I would be into that. SummerSlam weekend.
Yeah.
So we've kind of covered everything. Where would you say this sits in your list of top NXTs?
I don't think it breaks top 5. Mm-hmm. I've still got a lot of love for New Orleans and both the War Games ones. Top 10, I would say, probably. But there's the takeovers are so good. It's actually hard for one to like stand out above, like away from the crowd. So yeah, probably top 10.
They're merging into each other now in terms of quality. For me, I think I was sticking by Philadelphia for some time. That was a Gargano Almas takeover. But I've been thinking quite a bit about War Games recently. Pete Dunne and co versus the Undisputed Era, Aleister Black and Johnny Gargano, possibly my favourite match I've seen in NXT, for a number of reasons. I thought Ciampa versus Dream was amazing. Truly, it was one of those false finish heavy ones, but for a second in that match, I thought Dream had won it. I was convinced. Just fantastic night, that one. So War Games 2 is creeping up there for me. I might have to give it a wee rewatch.
I think it's going to be a shock when NXT Takeover doesn't deliver, and I think it's almost like when you have loads and loads of great days of weather and you need that one crappy day to almost like refresh the air. We're going to need a crap NXT Takeover to start rebuilding how good Takeover can be, because like you said, they're merging into each other and each one is trying to outdo the other one. We need one to let everyone down so we can refresh and say, right, let's see what NXT can actually do.
See, even with the announcement of the NXT UK Takeover, I personally thought the Blackpool takeover was sensational, and I wonder how on earth are they going to top that?
Well, to an audience of about 10, if all the reports are right, how they've screwed up with the dates, thinking that New Japan hadn't sold out, and then realising that they were using 2 ticket companies.
And I think it was more, well, I can get the New Japan thing, which is almost sold out or something, but it was the rugby as well in Cardiff.
Yep.
That's the killer.
Yep. And apparently hotels are already, if you can get one, absolutely stupid money. I mean, it's all right for me because we're about an hour and a half drive away, so if I get tickets, I'll be fine to go there and back. But yeah, I think it were a silly move by WWE, and it were all to like attack All Out, it seems, and they've dropped the ball. But luckily, it's what NXT UK is like the E division, maybe if you count that main roster as like one A and B, then NXT is a C, 205 Live. Yeah, it's going to be like the E division, isn't it? So at least that's one thing. But I think it makes NXT UK look weak.
Well, I know Triple H said in the Facebook thing afterwards that they'd booked this well in advance, but it looks like it's just a cock-up. It's not going to... It doesn't bother me. I'm not going to it anyway. So as long as they shove everyone down to the front and they put the mics on them to make it sound raucous, then I'll be fine with that.
Just piping the noise from up your end, because they had some brutally loud days, so just park that noise in and they'll be fine.
Or they could pipe in the fake Roman Reigns cheers.
Yeah.
I don't mean that. I don't. So before we finish up, we've had quite the 25 takeovers. How do you think this was the homework task that I set you?
Yeah. I forgot my apple.
It's all right. It's fine. How do you think NXT takeovers have evolved?
Yeah, when you set me this task, it were quite hard for me to work out, really. But I think the earlier ones were almost like training exercises for the wrestlers to be like to how to work in front of a camera and how to work a pay-per-view situation. And then they almost like evolved into like showcases of talent, like this is who we are, this is what we're going to bring to the WWE eventually. And for now, I think it's almost like we are the indie version of WWE, and we're like fighting the front battle against the likes of AEW, against the likes of Ring of Honor. We're the WWE version of that kind of wrestling.
Yeah, I would agree. I think there are 3 stages. You're right in that the first bunch were introductory phase, getting these young people used to the hard cam, all that sort of stuff, just wrestling a sort of pay-per-view style. Then the arena era, when they stopped doing so many Full Sail takeovers and transitioned into working exclusively alongside the big fours. That was, and then you had your Finn Balor's, your Baileys, the first true superstars of NXT, like superstars with a lowercase s, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And then since that, it's hard to say when the next stage was, but I think it was, I would say, when Johnny Gargano and Ciampa split up, actually. I think since then, I'm not sure if that was a specific catalyst, but around that time, you had the likes of Aleister Black coming in, Velveteen Dream started coming to prominence, the new era of all these guys, Ciampa having a very dominant reign. Tag team matches, the best matches of the night for a solid year or so. So I think that's the next era. So 3 stages, and it's almost got to the stage it's all just about bettering the last one instead of not. I mean, they do still tell stories, but it's a wrestling showcase, definitely. Mm-hmm. And this question is a lot harder to answer, and I don't even know if I have an answer for it. But where do you see NXT after 50 takeovers?
I don't think it's as hard an answer as you think.
All right.
I've got a feeling that NXT will become a real third brand of WWE. I think, like I said, the guys are going all out to better each other. They're going. There's many times where people are saying that the Takeover is the better show of like the WrestleMania or SummerSlam weekend, and I think somebody in WWE, hopefully Triple H, is gonna make a decision and say, yes, these guys are a third division. There's not going to be any moving up. It's not going to be classed as a training facility. It's going to be a division of itself. I mean, we're already getting the likes of Tyler Breeze coming down and hopefully like sticking around. If we can see a little bit more of that. I mean, I don't want all the old NXT guys to come back. No. Obviously, then it flood NXT it bloat it out like the main roster is. But I would like people to have careers in NXT and not just be there to wait till it's their turn to be called up. And I think that's the path that we're going down.
Because a lot of the people, I know that Ciampa and Gargano have said that they love NXT and they're not really in a rush to leave.
Yeah.
So I think there's merit to what you're saying there. It could be not a developmental, but a full-time, I have reached my goal in my wrestling career path. I'm not sure what it will be like in 50 or 25 more takeovers time, but I will make a prediction that at some point, maybe not every one of the big fours, but I think there might be a stadium takeover at some point over the next 25 takeovers.
That'd be amazing, wouldn't it? Absolutely amazing. And you've also got to remember as well that WWE have got these big TV deals coming up, and I can easily foresee NXT being on Fox, being part of this deal. And if they could get, I mean, obviously we pay for the network, and without NXT, that would put me into one of those like, am I going to keep the network going or not? If I'm going to be watching it on mainstream TV, but yeah, if they got that kind of spotlight where they're on Fox Sports or FS1 or something like that, there'd be no need for them to feel like they have to move up to main roster, because they will be legitimately a main roster network there on a properly big network.
I think there's still enough for me on the network to keep it if NXT goes, even taking out the main weekly network stuff. You get the pay-per-views. I do enjoy the interviews that they have, the documentaries, and just revisiting old pay-per-views in general. So from that point of things, NXT moving to a TV station, it wouldn't harm me personally, and I think the exposure that they would get would be phenomenal. And just watch, see if they stayed in Full Sail, for instance, and a larger audience saw that feverish atmosphere that Full Sail has, then that will feed people watching, that will feed off that energy. Just like we have watching Full Sail. The first one I watched was when Sami Zayn won the title, and I hadn't seen an atmosphere like that in a long, long time. So,
I mean, if WWE want a true challenger to that, the kind of fans that AEW are going to attract, NXT is primed to be that company. And if you got that on obviously we've got AEW coming up on TNT and RTV4, but if you got NXT on BT Sport with the new deal coming up and on Fox Sports, what a time to be a wrestling fan. What an absolute time to be a wrestling fan that would be.
Just wrestling will be on the TV more than X Factor, or?
I would not have a problem with that at all.
Yeah, I wouldn't at all, actually. That would be preferable. So, it's, as usual, it's a good time to be an NXT fan. Always is. There's hardly a dull moment, and there's nothing really that bothers us. However, it's time to test how much of an NXT fan you are, Mr. Kirkby.
For the love of God.
I don't know if he'll help you with the last couple of questions. We shall see. So, I present to you a Takeover themed quiz, and here is some music for you. Bang on the hour mark as well, so that would be very easy to splice in. Before I do that though, yes, I am living up to my gimmick so well with regards to doing terrible plugs that I forgot to do the plug entirely this week, so I'm splicing this in. Apologies to the Commander-in-Chief Jeremy Donovan and the rest of the Social Suplex guys, but I am righting that wrong right now and making sure that all our listeners know that you can go over to the Social Suplex Podcast Network to get more podcasts. See, this is terrible. I should just not do this again. You've got One Nation Radio, Keeping It Strong Style, ourselves, Grown Men Watch This Shit, All Things Elite, NXT, Then Now and Forever, and brand new to the podcast network, Get in the Ring. Go over to the app of your choice and give us a nice, big, sexy 5-star review. Socialsuplex.com has all these podcasts as well as the columns that we put out. If you go into the subscribe button, they'll get sent direct to your email inbox. Wrestling Squared Circle Facebook group is where you can find us all chatting about all things wrestling, and we are at Ricky and Clive on the good old Twitter. Apologies again, I still might have even mucked up this plug, but it's done, it's dusted. Back to the show. Holler.
It's fucking quiz time with Ricky and Clive and friends. A fucking WWE quiz.
So, Takeover centric quiz. Number 1. This last weekend was Roderick Strong's only singles takeover match. True or false? Now, I'm not counting the ones where they tape a match beforehand. Now, sometimes I remember there was Roderick Strong versus Pete Dunne, but they taped that for the following NXT TV episode. I'm not counting them.
Okay, so you want live. There's got to be at least one before he partnered up with Pete Dunne. I'm going to have to say false, but with no answer to say whether it's right or wrong. I'm going false. I think he has wrestled at least at one singles match.
Correct.
Thank God for that.
I had to research it, and the answer was Eric Young. Not sure if you remember that match.
Clearly, I do not.
I can't remember, springtime or something like that. They had a takeover, and I think that might be the only other one. I can't remember any others. So, keeping with Eric Young, question number 2. Eric Young has wrestled whether singles, tag, 6-man, whatever you want to say, or an 8-person tag. How many takeovers has Eric Young wrestled on?
Again, this is going to be a shot in the dark. I'm going to say just that one. I think 1.
The answer is 5.
Jesus Christ, that was me way off the mark.
Rob Ropey, are you listening?
I've got at least 1 point though. Yeah. At least it's not minus numbers.
So, there was a Roderick Strong match. There was Sanity versus Cassius Ohno, Ruby Riott, a couple of other people I can't remember. The Takeover Mania weekend, there was a sort of 8-person tag match. What else? The World Games match. And they faced Authors of Pain. There was another one.
What can I say? I've got awful memory. I'm old. I'm an old man.
You're not. It's just Eric Young's not had a very memorable career, that's all.
Career.
Number 3. Which takeover did Bayley lose her NXT Women's title?
Oh, I'm going to go with, and again, these are literally, I might as well be closing my eyes and just chucking at a dartboard. I'm going to go with Takeover The End.
Oh. I thought you were going to say it because I heard the Dallas.
Sorry, Bayley, forgive me.
See, going forward, see if you can if you forget the name of the town or city, but you remember the weekend, Big 4 weekend, I'll give you the point, okay?
Okay. I won't, so there's no points to be given.
Number 4, what was the name of the takeover where Finn Balor failed to retain his NXT title from Samoa Joe?
Oh, Jesus wept. I can't even remember literally what I had for my tea today. So
it was a cage match. No, your tea wasn't a cage match. It was.
Let's go with Brooklyn. Brooklyn won.
Oh no! It was the end.
Oh, serious. I'm being sold down the river here, folks.
Was there not a Morecambe and Wise sketch years ago where they did the Mastermind?
No, it was the two Ronnies.
Two Ronnies, sorry.
Yeah.
They gave an answer to the previous question.
Yeah.
So I'll give you a quarter of a point. Number 5. At the same pay-per-view, The End, which current SmackDown superstar made their NXT debut?
Let's go with... No, has he not moved to Raw? He probably has moved to Raw. I'm going to say him anyway. I might as well look an idiot. I'm going to go with Andrade.
Correct.
Wow. I actually thought he'd moved to Raw. See, I've got one. Fuck you, Rab. I'm taking this win.
Number 6. What was the women's title match at NXT Takeover Unstoppable?
Jesus wept. Let's go with...
Can I give you a clue?
Charlotte versus Sasha.
You got one right.
It was Charlotte because you didn't pull your face straight away. So
it was Sasha versus Becky.
Oh.
And what was, for all intents and purposes, a submission match. And it was because the whole Bayley-Sasha match at Brooklyn, this match gets forgotten about, but a fantastic match.
I forgot about it, yeah.
One of my favourite Becky Lynch matches, for sure. Not one of your favourite Becky Lynch matches, obviously.
I forgot about it, yeah. Like I said, it gets forgotten.
NXT Unforgettable, it should be called.
Forgettable. NXT Forgettable.
Speaking of which, number 7, how many takeovers has Wesley Blake competed in? Just, if you want to just guess.
I'm going to guess 1.
Which one?
The last one.
He was tag team champions with Mr. Buddy Murphy for a spell.
So probably not that one then. Two. Let's go with two.
He was on Rival, he was on Unstoppable, and he was at Brooklyn.
So I weren't far off though.
You weren't. Just not,
but still wrong.
Not far enough. Number 8. Before NXT 25, XXV. Who was Tyler Breeze's last takeover match against? This was at the same takeover as the Iron Woman match.
Wow. Ooh. Let's say Drew.
The answer was Apollo Crews. Crews rhymes with Drew.
So that's worth a point.
Yep.
I said Crews, it was just bad a mark pick up.
Number 9. More recent. Name all 6 wrestlers.
Are you kidding? I can't name 6 wrestlers full stop.
Involved in the 6-man ladder match for the North American title last year.
Right. Lars, Dane, Ricochet, Dream, Cole. Who is the last one? Dunn.
Oh, well, no, go pick someone else apart from Dunn.
Oh, that's still going to be the one that annoys me because it's the one I can't picture. Almas. No, it's not Almas.
You have wrestler name Tourette's right now.
Yeah.
Will I give you a clue?
Go on.
It's
not another big man.
Derek Bateman.
Oh, yeah, EC3.
Yep. I'll give you the point. Number 10.
See, that's why I forgot him, because he literally does nothing in a match.
I know. Yeah, I mean, he's not getting used, but he botched heavily in a main event match with Tyler Breeze once, so really bad. So there we go. Number 10. One Dusty Tag Team Classic trophy has been won on a taping with Aleister Black and Ricochet. Name the 3 takeovers where the tournament winners have been crowned on the night of the takeover. Do you need me to repeat the question?
No, because I probably don't know the answer anyway. So I need the 3 takeovers where they had the Dusty final.
Yes.
Let's go with Revolution. That's probably not one. Let's go. I am woeful, honestly. Quizzes are not my forte. Let's go with Respect. I know that were a takeover name. No, that's the Iron Man one, though, isn't it? So, yeah, let's go with that.
That's one.
Let's go with... I'm going to go with Dallas. That's probably not one.
Nope.
I give up. I'm woeful.
Right.
I should never enter quizzes unless it's like about me.
You know,
I probably got them wrong.
You could have said no when I asked you to do the quiz time invitation.
No, someone needs to have a bar through to the second round. So.
Right. The answer was Respect. Finn Balor and Samoa Joe.
I knew that one.
Toronto.
Oh yeah, Toronto.
And WrestleMania 34 when Roderick Strong screwed Pete Dunne, which started a multi-month long feud that remains one of my favourites.
Mm-hmm. I remember the matches, it's just I don't remember any of the facts about them.
Well, good luck to you in the Quiz Time Invitational, which should air at some point in July.
I need more than look. I need a cheat sheet. I need the answers.
I'll see if I can put some sort of mirror up to my screen or something.
Just like that, 45 degrees.
Like that. There we go. So that concludes the quiz. I think you got 3 right.
That's 3 more than I expected, so that's a good result.
Excellent. 3 out of 10 ain't bad, as the song goes. So, you might not have done well in that, but I thoroughly enjoyed the conversation I had with you tonight, Darren. That was a really good discussion on NXT 25. Looking forward to having you on again. In the meantime, is there anything you want to say in general or plug? I know you've got a lot to plug.
Yep, have you got about 25 minutes? Yep, I have a multitude of podcasts. I have a podcast called While We Watch, where I speak to content creators and fans of wrestling, find out their wrestling story and their history. I have Badlands on the Brainbuster Radio Network, where me and Paul Toller, we debate Mount Rushmores of wrestling with guests, but not just obviously the classic wrestling, the greatest wrestlers Mount Rushmore, but we also cover little differences in topics like title belts or mass wrestlers, stuff like that. And if you're interested in UFC, I have a podcast with my lad where we review UFC events. That's called the 5 Rounds Pod. You can find me on Twitter if you dare get involved in one of my Twitter arguments at DAJ Kirkby. Absolutely love this, Clive. Anytime I get to come on this show is an absolute blessing. I really do enjoy talking to you guys, and yeah, thanks for having me on.
No, thank you for coming on. As I say, it's a joy to chat with you. For listeners, if you haven't listened to the Badlands or the Why We Watch, there are many wrestling podcasts out there where opinions come across as absolutes. There are hot takes, people get triggered, people fight, handbags are thrown. Badlands and Why We Watch, it's not about the current product, it's just a chat about friends talking about wrestling. There's no politics, there's no agendas, it's just a good chat, and I thoroughly implore you to have a listen at them. They're really good. Thank you very much. That's all we're trying to do. We're just trying to bring fun back to wrestling, especially with wrestling Twitter. It gets a little bit toxic, and you've got to draw battle lines and stuff like that. And there's no need for it. At the end of the day, it's entertainment, and that's what I like to bring out with the podcast that I do. Yep. Well, what I like to bring to the podcast is some breaking news. Now, I'm laughing already. Oh shit! See, I'm way out of practice with this. I can't even remember it. Right, hold on. Adam Cole and Johnny Gargano were given written warnings from their job at the auction house because they only decide to sell when it suits them. Good art, people. Good art. But they decided to keep Adam Cole on because he was... No, shit. Oh, God. They decided to keep Johnny Gargano on because he was okay to do the job. Wow. Dreadful. Absolutely dreadful, ladies and gentlemen. Shocking jokes there. And you even had the cheek to mention... Morecambe Wise and Ronnie, the two Ronnies, and you bring that joke to the table. Those men ain't got shit on me. And it's goodbye from me, and it's goodbye from him. Oh, nicely done. Thank you for listening to the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Podcast. We'll see you next time.